Part 32. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 311. By the way, you can't be the only two big men in this company. There must be someone in the office and someone in the finance department, right? Sun Ho and Lu Ligan said. There is really no need for this. I am running outside every day. Isn't there Xiao Huang in the office? When a call comes, he can just answer it. Regarding finance, Xiao Huang can do it, and I can do it too. There are not many expenses in a day. Take a little time to remember it clearly. Lu Ligan said, walked to his desk, opened the drawer, took out the cash diary from it, and showed it to Sun Ho. Sun Ho looked at it and said with a smile. Quite professional. Of course, this is taught by a professional cashier, Lu Ligan said. Then do you know that this violates the financial system? Sun Ho said with a smile. Ah, what did you say? Lu Ligan was surprised. Sun Ho said, during the preparations, it was an emergency period, so you can do this, but after the company is on track, the general manager cannot have direct access to cash, because your responsibility is to supervise and manage their work, not your own. Just go for it. There are few people now and there is less water coming in and out. I agree that accountant Xiao Huang can do it temporarily. But according to the financial system, accounting and cashier are two positions that restrict each other and must be filled by two people. You cannot directly contact and manage cash, and the same is true for accountants. Therefore, a cashier must be found immediately. Sun Ho said. Lu Ligan nodded. Sun Ho continued, also, if you have guests here, you can't serve tea and pour water by yourself like now. Xiao Huang is a big man, so appropriate. Again, pay attention to the company's image. Just to serve tea and pour water, do you need to recruit someone? Lu Ligan asked puzzledly. Of course, you are a peasant, Sun Ho scolded. Look at other hotels, just for the sake of appearance, they have to recruit several beautiful girls as greeters. Standing at the door, how much specific work content do they have? Lu Ligan scolded, well, the landlords in our hometown will only choose girls who can cook, not girls who support the facade. Sun Ho smiled and said, so you, a peasant, have evolved to be a landlord. It's true. The ideals of peasants in history are to look at the landlord's big house and little wife and say, how can I replace him with this? The two men laughed. Meng Ping clicked on the open door. Sun Ho quickly got up and said to Meng Ping, Mr. Meng, come in and sit down. Meng Ping shook his head and said he wouldn't sit down anymore. If nothing happens here, we would leave. Lu Ligan and Sun Ho said, don't leave him alone. He wants to compete in the Central Plains. The car is only halfway through, so we have to keep driving. Meng Ping smiled and said, call me if you need anything. By the way, tomorrow morning, Cao Ziahe will go directly to Wanghai Tower to take the leaders to the airport. Lu Ligan looked at Sun Ho and said, there is no need to send it off tomorrow. It only takes 10 minutes to walk from Wanghai Tower to the airport. No, I have to give it away even if it takes only 1 minute. This is a matter of attitude and the distinction between superiors and subordinates. Before Sun Ho could say anything, Meng Ping said first, I am the leader. Even if the car arrives and they don't sit, I would like to. You can go on your own, but the decision-making power belongs to them, not to us. We cannot overstep our authority and make decisions for them. Well said, Sun Ho shouted, look at the pole, Mr. Meng, his realm is higher than yours. What kind of state is this? It's just a matter of flattery, Lu Ligan scolded. That's right, it's the art of flattering. If you don't flatter, then let me ask you, pole, a good thing, people can give it to you or to others. Why should they give it to you? Because you are beautiful? Meng Ping said. Lu Ligan was stunned by the question and was speechless. Sun Ho looked at the two of them and laughed. After Meng Ping left, Sun Ho and Lu Ligan said, This buddy is very capable and will become a great person in the future. Of course, you will be the same, Zhangzi. I am optimistic about you. Thank you for the leadership training. Lu Ligan put what he had learned into practice and immediately flattered him. Sun Ho laughed. Sun Ho and Lu Ligan stayed in the office until after 3 o'clock, then went downstairs to Wanghai International Hotel to meet the two presidents. Sun Ho and his group's president's surname was Zhu, and the president of the superior branch was surnamed Li. They arrived at President Zhu's room first. President Zhu used the phone in his room to call President Li's room and told him that Mr. Lu and the others had arrived. President Li said, "Come over, we will have a meeting in my room." President Zhu took Sun Ho and Lu Ligan over. President Li's room was at the head of the corridor. It was a suite. When they arrived, President Li had already opened the door and was standing at the door waiting for them. President Li was very happy to see Lu Ligan and praised him again. President Li invited President Zhu and Lu Ligan to sit on the sofa. Sun Ho walked to the tea table and prepared to make tea. President Li said, "No tea is needed, there is mineral water in the refrigerator." "Water, we drink mineral water. I didn't expect the weather to be so hot in Haikan." Sun Ho got a bottle of mineral water for each of them, and finally got a bottle for himself. After checking that the water in the refrigerator was gone, he called the housekeeping center and asked them to add water. Then he walked over and asked them to add water. Lu Ligan sat down next to him. As expected by Lu Yun, President Zhu asked Lu Ligan to talk about his plans first. After Lu Ligan visited Mr. Han that day, he formulated his own rhetoric. He told them that this real estate is suitable for development now. 2 items, one is housing, and the other is office properties and commercial real estate. It is not yet time to vigorously develop them. After real estate rises, all walks of life will be driven. Many new companies will come up. There will be a huge demand for high-end office properties. There will be a market for both renting and selling. My idea is that we focus on developing office properties. Superior. Another advantage of this is that if we successfully develop office properties in Haikan, it will immediately establish our brand image. A Jinghai building will stand there, which will be helpful for us to develop other forms of real estate projects in the future. Those who benefit from it, whether it is the government or the broad masses of the people, will see us personally. While Lu Ligan was talking, the BB machine in his waist rang. He looked at it and saw that it was Huang Mei, so he ignored it. The BB machine continued to beep, and President Zhu raised his hand, meaning to ask Lu Ligan to call back first. Lu Ligan shook his head and said it was not important. He adjusted the BB machine to vibrate and continued. After Lu Ligan finished speaking, President Zhu and President Li looked at each other and laughed. President Zhu and Lu Ligan said, "In fact, before we came here, we also discussed that we wanted to build a Jinghai building in Haikan, but in the end, we have never thought about the brand image issue you mentioned. When you say it, it is true that as Jinghai Tower rises, so does the image of Jinghai real estate." "Xiao Lu, have you ever considered the location of this building?" asked President Li. "I have considered it and put it on the roadside of Longkan South Road or Kuomao in the future." Lu Ligan then introduced the geographical location, traffic conditions, and land conditions of the two places to them. He said that if you look at the land price purely, the land on Longkan South Road would be more expensive to find now than the Kuomao. It is much cheaper, but in terms of surrounding supporting facilities and future development prospects, Kuomao is definitely better. I went to the planning department of the Urban Construction Bureau to check. The provincial branches of the 5 major banks of the Workers' and Peasants' China Construction Bank, as well as the Nanyang Bank, have all chosen to be located in Kuomao, and some have already started construction. Then let's choose Kuomao. How much is the difference in land? 1 acre of land costs 100,000 or 200,000, which is a fraction for a building. I think choosing land for building a building is like a woman choosing a husband. Once you make a choice, you'll be there for life, President Zhu said. At that time, the land in Hiken was cheap at hundreds of thousands per mu, and expensive at only 5 or 600,000. The land price reached 8 to 9 million, which was already sky high. The difference between 100,000 and 200,000 was indeed a big gap. I think this is more serious than a woman choosing a husband. If a couple doesn't get along, they can divorce and start a new relationship. This building is built, but if you want to move it, you can't move it, Mr. Li added. Everyone laughed, and the matter was settled. President Li asked, Xiao Lu, have you ever understood how many floors the tallest building in Hiken is now? Understood, Lu Ligan said, including those under construction and those submitted to the Urban Construction Bureau for approval. The tallest building is also the Kuomao, with the 38th floor. Manager Li thought for a moment and said, since we want to establish our brand image, we must make a big splash and make it a landmark in the entire Hiken. Our building will be built with 41 floors and become the tallest building in the entire Hiken. Okay, I agree with the leader's foresight, President Zhu said. Also, the name of this building, Xiao Lu, didn't you say that this Kuomao is also a gathering place for financial institutions? Haha, then we foreign monks are also joining in the fun. Our building is not called Jinghai Building, but it's called Jinghai International Financial Center. Do you like it? The other three couldn't help but applaud. The matter is settled. 4 people, dozens of minutes of informal meetings, and the tallest landmark building in Hiken, the Jinghai International Financial Center, was born. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 312. After the meeting, Sun Ho saw that Lu Ligan's BB signal light kept flashing, and knew that something must be wrong with him. Sun Ho said, Mr. Lu, I will accompany the 2 presidents to eat downstairs later, and then arrive. Take a walk on Hixia Road outside and go about your own business. Lu Ligan said yes, he would detain me if something happens. He stood up, said goodbye to the 2 presidents and Sun Ho, and walked outside the room. He almost jumped with joy. Jinghai International Financial Center, 41st floor, the tallest building in Hiken, was built by me, Lu Ligan. Yes, this is humming awesome, right? Lu Ligan hurriedly went downstairs and ran to Zhang Chen. He ran to Zhang Chen's office and saw Zhang Chen sitting there alone. Lu Ligan asked, where's the beauty? Leave, Zhang Chen scolded. Why, you still want me to keep her forever? Lu Ligan chuckled, in this lifetime, she will no longer be that old man's, but yours. Rogue and shameless, Zhang Chen scolded. Okay, forget about that for now. I want to tell you something, Lu Ligan immediately told Zhang Chen excitedly about the meeting they had upstairs and about the Jinghai International Financial Center. Zhang Chen was very happy after hearing this. Delighted, he said. Great, Pol, now you can finally create the history of Hiken. Lu Ligan continued to smile, isn't it true? Now, Lu Ligan, will also come forward. The BB camera in his waist was trembling again. Lu Ligan picked it up and saw that it was still Huang Mei. He looked at Zhang Chen and said, okay, after dealing with the important affairs of the family and the country, I now have to deal with my personal feelings. Zhang Chen smiled and said, it seems like you don't need to have dinner. I'll go by myself. Zhang Chen took 2 bowls from the cabinet and walked out. Lu Ligan quickly called Huang Mei. As soon as the call came through, Huang Mei said, Lao Ma, why don't you call me back? I was just in a meeting, and the leaders were all there, so there was no way to go back, Lu Ligan explained. You're a scumbag. You said you would show up right away as long as I detained you. Okay, where are you now? I'll be there soon. Ignore you, you scoundrel. I can't ignore it. If you ignore me, I really depend on you and you can't get rid of me. You, okay, I'm at Guo's Hang 605. Okay, I'll be here right away. Look at your watch. I'll be there within 10 minutes. Lu Ligan hung up the phone and ran out. He ran outside to Hixia Road, crossed the road and ran to the opposite side. When he arrived at Guo's hang, before anyone arrived, he shouted to the bellman at the front desk, "Handsome guy, help me, I swipe down the elevator and go to the 6th floor, 605. In Guoshang's elevator, you need to swipe your room card to go upstairs." When they arrived on the 6th floor, they found 605. Lu Ligan did not ring the doorbell, but banged on the door. The door opened, and there was Huang Meili standing inside. Lu Ligan picked her up. Huang Meili giggled, looked at her watch, and shouted, "That's right, Mom, 7 minutes." Putting Huang Meili down, Lu Ligan wanted to go inside the door. Huang Meili stopped him and told him that he was not allowed to come in. "Please explain clearly first, why didn't you tell me that your company is opening today?" Lu Ligan smiled, "I forgot, really. Mainly because I feel that this is not my real company. I am just a small shareholder. Next time my company opens, I will definitely invite you to cut the ribbon." No, how do you know my company is opening today?" "Humph, not only did I know, I also went." "You went?" Lu Ligan pretended to be stupid. "Why didn't I see you?" "I went and then accompanied Brother Zhang back to Wang Heilu to get the renderings. The renderings disappeared, so Brother Zhang had to draw a new one. By the way, Brother Zhang even invited me to dinner and painted for me." Lu Ligan almost laughed out loud when he heard this. It looked like Zhang Chen had taken great pains to get rid of Huang Meili. It was really hard work. Yes, that rendering is waiting for urgent use," Lu Ligan said. "Can we go in now?" "Okay, I'll spare you, come in," Huang Meili said and got out of the way. "Why do you want to rent a room here in broad daylight?" Lu Ligan asked. "It's not your fault. I even deducted your money and didn't answer it. I thought I was alone today. I wanted to eat Kaya Jiangchun's roast goose but didn't want to go downstairs, so I checked into the room and ordered it in the room. By the way, Lao Ma, what do you want to eat? Hurry up, I've already ordered it." Huang Meili said, and handed the order form for the guest room to Lu Ligan. Before Lu Ligan received it, Huang Meili took it back. "Forget it, let me order it for you." She walked to the bedside table and sat down, picked up the phone on it, looked at the order list, added 5 or 6 dishes, and a bottle of red wine. "Today we want to celebrate the opening of Lao Ma's company." Huang Meili turned to Lu Ligan and smiled. The two people removed the lamp and tea set from the desk in the guest room, leaving an empty table waiting for their orders to arrive. Huang Meili asked Lu Ligan, "Tell me, how are you today?" When Huang Meili asked, Lu Ligan became happy. He told Huang Meili about the Jinghai International Financial Center. Huang Meili clapped her hands and said, "That's great, Lao Ma. From now on, when I pass by this building sometimes, I will remember that this was built by Lao Ma. By the way, Lao Ma, will your office be in it in the future?" "Meeting. Great, then I will stop the car and go up to find you. If the security guards at the door stop me, I will tell them that I am a friend of Mr. Lu and come to see you, Mr. Lu." "Haha, will they? Get out of the way obediently. If you didn't say you were looking for me, they would just get out of the way." "Really?" "Of course. Have you ever been stopped by security in Haikan?" Huang Meili thought for a moment, pursed her lips and smiled. "It seems like there really isn't." The smile quickly disappeared from Huang Meili's face. Lu Ligan saw a trace of worry creeping up, but it disappeared immediately. The dishes and wine they ordered arrived. The two waiters helped them set the dishes, opened the red wine for them, poured it into the decanter, and shook it gently. Huang Meili told them, "That's it? Thank you." Huang Meili took out 200 yuan from her bag and wanted to give 100 yuan to each of the two waiters. The two waiters blushed, shook their hands and said, "No, no, no, Miss Huang." Huang Mei forced it on them and told them, "You and I, why are you so polite? You have been taking care of me for so long since I have been here." The two waiters looked at each other, then took the money and said thank you to Miss Huang together. Exit the door. Lu Ligan looked at Huang Mei and smiled, "I know why you are so popular in the hotel. Do you often treat them to late-night snacks and give them gifts?" "Yes, those things were all given by others. There is almost no room for them in my room. In Hiken, I don't have many friends to give them to. Every time I go out, I will bring some to give away. You want know, I have various brands of lipstick, Lao Ma, if you want it I will give it to you." Huang Mei giggled. Lu Ligan scolded, Go, go, I'm not Dongfang invincible." Huang Mei poured wine for the two of them, raised the glass, and said seriously to Lu Ligan, "Come on, Lao Ma, I know you are avoiding me today, but I still want to toast you and wish you a happy opening of the company. I also wish you the best. Your Jinghai International Financial Center will be completed as soon as possible." Huang Mei's words shocked Lu Ligan, and he shouted, "Nonsense, why am I hiding from you?" Huang Mei looked at him, smiled slightly, and said, "Do you think I am a fool? During this time, you have been busy with this matter, and we have been together so many times, but you have never told me once that your company, when will it open, and is this normal? This morning, Brother John came over as soon as I went there and asked me to take him back to Wanghai Tower to pick up his things. Giggle, if he is so anxious, will he not go back to Wanghailu if I don't go? Or is it just me who has the only car in that place? What's even more ridiculous is that he told me that he was going back to get the renderings, and the decoration was completed. Why do you need renderings? Stop talking, Lao Ma, stop making up lies, otherwise I will be sad. Even if people from Beijing want to take something back and let others see the company, they just take a camera and take pictures. Why do they need renderings? Isn't all this just to get rid of me? However, I am very happy. I am very happy to go to the cafeteria of Wanghailu to eat. I really haven't eaten the big pot food in the cafeteria for a long time. What is even more happy is that I like the painting that Brother John gave me. This is a good gift. Lao Ma, no matter what you want to say, there is no need to say it. I know you do this, and there must be a reason for doing so. I respect you, and I sincerely wish you a successful business, and thank you for staying with me during this time. I am very happy when I am with you, really, thank you, Lao Ma." The more Lu Ligan listened, the more he felt something was wrong. He asked, "Mei, what do you mean by this? Today may be the last time we drink together," Lao Ma. Huang Mei said, her eyes lowered. "You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Niang. Chapter 313. Lu Ligan was shocked. He shouted, "No way, my Mei, do you want to break up with me just because of this matter?" Huang Mei shook her head and said, "No, it has nothing to do with today's matter. It's because I'm leaving Hainan Island. Going to the mainland." Huang Mei continued to shake her head, "Go to the United States." "Ah," Lu Ligan was surprised again, "why have I never heard of you before?" Huang Mei smiled miserably, "I also thought that this day would not happen, but it happened anyway. Lao Ma, I like Hiken, I don't like Seattle, and I don't want to leave, but now, I have to leave. Dad, this is for my own good." "Your dad?" "Yes, the old man who took care of me." "Ah, you mean, that old man is your father. Otherwise? Otherwise, who would be so kind to me, listen to me in everything, and satisfy me with whatever I need?" This surprise was truly extraordinary. Lu Lizan spoke incoherently and stammered, I thought, hey, I thought. Huang Mei looked at him doubtfully, and suddenly understood, I'm going to die. Huang Mei cursed, and she asked Lu Ligan, do you think I am someone else's mistress? Lu Lipol nodded. Why are your thoughts so dirty, Lao Ma? Huang Mei said angrily, I really don't want to care about you anymore. Lu Ligan quickly defended, well, you can't blame me entirely for this. Didn't you yourself say that the old man who supports you is like this, and the old man who supports you is like that? Can I not misunderstand? Look, Huang Mei stretched out her face and cursed, do you think I look like a mistress? Lu Ligan said with a smile, it doesn't look like it. Looking at it now, it doesn't look like her at all. She looks like a rich lady. As he spoke, he wanted to kiss her, but Huang Mei shrank back. Does that mean I looked like before? Huang Mei asked with her eyes wide open. It wasn't exactly the same before. It's just that you said that yourself, and I was embarrassed to ask more questions for fear of hurting your self-esteem. Lu Ligan muttered. You will be punished by drinking this glass of wine. Lu Ligan raised his cup and drank obediently. You will have another drink as a penalty. Lu Ligan obediently took the decanter and poured himself wine. It's not enough, pour more. Lu Ligan continued to pour until Huang Mei stopped making any noise, then he stopped, picked up the cup, and finished the drink. Fall again. Lu Lipol poured another glass. Cheers to me. Lu Ligan raised his cup and clinked it with Huang Mei. Huang Mei then giggled and clinked glasses with Lu Lipol. Huang Mei remembered something and said, that's not right, Lao Ma, do you think I am someone else's mistress and you want to seduce me? Lu Ligan sighed, when I see you, I can't help myself. Don't say that you are someone else's mistress. Even if I know that you are a monster and a vixen, I still want to be with you. At least what Lu Ligan said was true, especially now that he knew that he had misunderstood Huang Mei, he fell in love with her even more. Huang Mei sighed, and the smile on her face disappeared again. She said quietly, unfortunately, Lao Ma, it's already too late. We can't be together anymore. Why, do you have to leave? Yes, Huang Mei nodded, I must leave. If I don't leave, my father will be sad. He has asked a friend to help us contact the consulate in Guangzhou. We will go there to apply for the visa tomorrow. After we get the visa, we will go from Guangzhou to Hong Kong, stay in Hong Kong for 2 days, run some errands, and then fly to Seattle. You? Who else? My aunt. Your aunt? Hi, my father's wife is my stepmother, let's go together. Huang Mei stretched out her hand and held Lu Ligan's hand. The two looked at each other silently. There was a smell of sadness in the air. Lu Ligan felt that he couldn't say what he wanted to say. The two were silent for a while. Yes, Huang Mei asked. Lao Ma, do you know who I am? Lu Ligan shook his head. After a while, he said, your father is from Jingfa Group. They told me that the flower basket you sent in the morning was signed by Jingfa Group. Huang Mei didn't say a word or nod. She looked at Lu Ligan, hesitated for a while, and then said, Lao Ma, can you keep what I said to you today a secret? Promise not to tell anyone. Lu Ligan said yes, I promise. Really, this is very important, Lao Ma. You are the only friend I have in this world who can express my concerns. I believe in you and I hope you will not let me down. When Huang Mei said this, her eyes turned red. Lu Ligan touched her face and said to her, don't worry, even if I betray myself, I won't betray you. Huang Mei nodded and said softly, my father is the boss of Jingfa Group. Isn't the chairman of Jingfa Group's surname Shentu? Lu Ligan said. If the chairman's surname was Huang, then Lu Ligan would think of it. Jingfa Group is a joint venture, but all the shareholders are heads. Among them are my father's apprentices, my father's drivers, and my father's relatives. No one knows who the overseas ones are. In fact, Jingfa Group belongs to my father, and my father is the boss. Huang Mei said, of course, this is not a secret. Everyone in Jingfa Group knows it, and many people in the society also know it. What they don't know is what my father did to accumulate so much wealth. So rich, very few people know this, and even those who do know, they only have a rough idea. Do you know? Lu Ligan asked. I don't know the specifics. I just know that he does a lot of things and has many connections and friends, especially friends who are officials. Everything he does is very profitable. Like you said last time, reselling the red line map. That's just a very small part of it, and it's not the most profitable. There are other ways to make money faster, such as reselling foreign exchange quotas. You can make tens of millions at a time. When my father is happy, he will say these words at home. But specifically, I really don't know. I only know that he made a lot of money, so much that he even felt scared. This is why he had to send my aunt and me abroad. Others thought he was rich and arrogant, but in fact he was very wealthy. Scared, very, very scared, really, the things he did involved too many people and were too complicated. I can imagine it, Lu Ligan said. Lao Ma. Do you still remember the last time you met me at the Industrial and Commercial Bureau? Of course I remember. I'm still surprised. Logically speaking, you're not someone who doesn't have the means to apply for a license. Why would you queue up? Yes. If my father wants to apply for a license, there is no need to queue up. The people below will take the documents and go directly to the director's office, and it will be done in one day. It was different that time. It was my company. My father came here because he wanted to take the exam. It's a test of my ability to do things, and secondly, he doesn't want to have anything to do with anyone in this company. Why? My father originally wanted me to register a company on my own, and then he would transfer a sum of money to my company and let me do whatever I wanted without having anything to do with the Jingfa Group. I understand, your father wants to protect you, Lu Ligan said. Yes, he thought he could protect me this way, but it turned out that this was impossible. How did you say that? Yes, I remembered that there were intact eggs under the overturned nest. If something happened to him, my aunt and I will definitely be implicated as well. In fact, my father didn't tell us anything, but those people don't think so. They think we must know many secrets. My father understands that only by sending us out can he truly protect us, so he made this decision on the spur of the moment. Of course we refuse to leave, but if we don't leave, it will only make him worry all day long. We asked him what he was worried about, but he refused to tell us. He just told us that you must leave, and the sooner the better. Can't your father go with you? Lu Ligan asked. Huang Mei smiled miserably. It would be great if he could leave. If he is not in Hiken, attracts the attention of those people, and leaves with us, he said, then none of the three of us can leave. When Huang Mei said this, she shed tears and trembled all over. Lu Ligan hugged her. Huang Mei kept saying, hold her tight, Lao Ma, my aunt and I are actually very scared. But we couldn't let my dad know that we were scared, so I didn't dare to stay at home. I know it all now. Lu Ligan kept mumbling. Lao Ma. Why do I feel like I'm about to wander around the world? I also have the feeling of separation between life and death. The two hugged each other and cried. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 314. This night, Lu Ligan and Huang Mei kept hugging each other and were reluctant to sleep. They cried sometimes and whispered quietly. It was like it was the first day that the two of them had met. They had endless things to say and didn't know each other well enough. Lu Lizan realized what Meng Ping said, what it was like for him and his fiancée to hug each other all night and cry non-stop. Isn't it the same for me now? Lu Ligan wondered why he was so unlucky. He had just experienced the joy of Jinghai International Financial Center and found out that Huang Meili was not someone else's mistress. Why were they about to be separated again? Why is this world so cruel? If possible, Lu Ligan would rather Huang Meili was not the daughter of the boss of the Jingfa group, but just an ordinary girl, so that he could love her properly. If he could do anything to help Huang Meili and keep her from leaving, Lu Ligan would definitely do it without saying a word. But he was powerless and couldn't do anything. He didn't even know what the world of Huang Meili's father was like. Yes, I don't know either. Lu Ligan felt a deep sense of powerlessness. It was only at this time that people truly felt their own insignificance and inferiority. You think you can change the world, but in fact you can't even change the fate of the people closest to you. Lu Ligan asked, "Did you go to Guangzhou and Ningbo to prepare for going out?" "No, how could it be possible? I didn't even know I was going out at that time. My father only informed us of his decision yesterday after he had arranged everything. He also asked us not to prepare anything, just as usual, pretending to be the same as every time we went to Guangzhou to Hong Kong for shopping and fun. When we arrived in Guangzhou, someone would pick us up at the airport and tell us about our itinerary in Guangzhou. He arranged that we don't need to buy anything, and the things we need will be prepared for us when we arrive in Hong Kong and Seattle." Huang Meili was silent for a while, and then said to Lu Ligan, "I went to Guangzhou and Ningbo to find my mother." "Looking for your mother?" "Yes, I have stipulated for myself that before my 23rd birthday, I will find my mother and ask her a question. After that day, I will completely forget her. Even if she is standing in front of me, I will pretend that I don't know her. There has never been a person like her in this world." When Huang Meili said this, her tone was decisive. Lu Ligan felt that if she said this, she would definitely do the same. Just like she was sitting in front of the window of that hotel, saying that every time she waited for the girl on the stairs opposite, she would only wait until 8 o'clock. Just like she was sitting in the car, with the shadows of the trees swaying, she said to herself, "Before 10 o'clock, if you hadn't kissed me, nothing would have happened tonight or from now on." "What do you want to ask your mother?" Lu Ligan asked. "I want to ask her why she abandoned me and my father. Everyone says that my father is a good man, and everyone says that I am very cute, but why did she abandon us? I just hope to be able to face her face to face and listen to her tell me a reason yourself." "Then you forgive her?" Lu Ligan continued to ask. "No, it's the same. From now on, I still treat her as a person who has never existed in this world, but my own knot has been lifted." "Why did your mother leave you?" "I just don't know, so I have to find her and ask her face to face. My father used to be an electric welder, an 8th level welder. He was very good and famous in our place. If anyone had a job, they would come to him to do it. My father was still working in the factory at that time, so he would work during off-duty hours or on Sundays. He had already made a lot of money by doing private work outside. At that time, a household worth 10,000 yuan was a rarity. No one knew that my father actually had a household worth 10,000 yuan. Later, my father resigned from the factory, so he knocked down the wall on the first floor of our house facing the street and opened a shop to help people make iron doors, cages for balconies, and iron shelves. The business was very good, and my dad is very famous and has several apprentices, so he is very busy every day. Later on, there were more and more things to do every day. There was no room for them at home. They were piled outside. Neighbors and passers-by had objections. In addition, I worked overtime until very late every day. You know that kind of work, which is rattling. It was very noisy, and the downstairs of our house was not a long-term solution. My father simply went to contract a hardware tool factory that had closed down in the area at that time. After the factory was contracted, I made a lot of money with my father's skills and the connections he had accumulated at that time. Some wealthy people and units started making stainless steel cages and clothes drying racks. There are also stainless steel stairs, which are very expensive to make and require a lot of welders. Of course, the profits are also very high, but the problem is that the stainless steel pipes cannot go in. At that time, all steel mills supplied stainless steel pipes according to plans. Only state-owned factories could get the quota allocated by the above. My father's was a collective enterprise, so how could it be qualified? There was a person introduced by a friend. He came to tell my dad that one of his relatives was the director of the sales department of Taiyuan Iron and Steel Plant. From him, there was a way to get unplanned steel. Of course my dad was very happy. I brought a big bag with 100,000 yuan. At that time, I only had 10 yuan. I also brought 2 hams, which I planned to give to the director. My father, that man, and a strong apprentice, the 3 of them arrived in Taiyuan and found a hotel to stay on Ying Street in front of the train station. That day was Sunday. The man said that his relatives had a day off today, so the 3 of them took 2 hams on their backs and took a car to a dormitory compound in Taiyuan Iron and Steel Co., Limited. When they walked downstairs, the man said that his relatives were here. There are too many, they are annoyed, and they are afraid of the bad impact on their neighbors. He asked my father and his apprentice to wait downstairs. He went upstairs carrying 2 hams. My father and the 2 of them waited downstairs for more than half an hour. The man came down empty-handed and said to my father, "We have agreed that we will go directly to his office tomorrow and take the bill of lading issued by him. We can find a car ourselves and go to the warehouse to pick up the goods." Of course my dad was very happy after hearing this. The man also said that the director must keep him here to eat. My dad said, "Is there anything delicious in the food here? Let's go and find a place to drink. 2 drinks to celebrate." The man ran upstairs again and told the director not to eat here. After going up and down, the 3 of them took the car back to Ying Street. In the middle of the night, my father's apprentice got up to go to the toilet. The 3 of them lived in a room. There was no toilet in the room. To use the toilet, he had to go to the public toilet at the end of the corridor outside. When he came back, he shook my father awake and said that the man was missing. Well, my dad drank a lot and was dizzy. He said that he was making a fuss and should go to the toilet. The apprentice said, "No, I just came back from the toilet and didn't see him." My father suddenly woke up. He looked under the bed and saw that the travel bag containing 100,000 yuan was gone. The 2 of them ran upstairs. "Come downstairs." The waiter at the door downstairs said that more than an hour ago, the man who came with you said he had to catch an early morning train and left with a big bag. My father asked what kind of bag it was, and she couldn't see it clearly, but from her general description, my father knew that it was the bag containing the money. One of my father and his apprentice went to the train station, and the other went to the police station to call the police. My dad went to the police station. The officer on duty at the police station asked my dad to come back during the day when he was at work. Now he was alone here and he couldn't leave. My father was anxious and ran to the train station. He didn't find the man, but he met his apprentice. The apprentice also said he didn't see the man. The 2 of them went to the Don but couldn't find him, so they had to go to the police station again. 100,000 yuan money was a lot of money at that time, and the police station also took it seriously. The police took my father to Taiyuan Iron and Steel Co., Limited in a tricycle and found the director of the sales department. The director's surname is Liang. He said he didn't have such a relative at all. He also asked my dad where he went yesterday, and my dad told him. Director Liang said, "First, Taigong has several family areas, and he lives in it's not at all the area my dad and the others went to yesterday. Secondly, he was in a meeting at work all day yesterday and was not at home. The police took my father to the building where he had been yesterday. People in that building also said that Director Liang did not live here. They asked if there was anything suspicious. Some people said that there was. Last night, someone went to the roof to collect clothes, and found 2 hams on the roof. The police confirmed that my father was deceived. The person who stole his money is definitely not in Taiyuan now and cannot be traced. He told my father that you should go back to your hometown police station to report the crime. You can avoid it on the first day of the new year. At 15, he couldn't stay out any longer and had to go home. Lao Ma, my mouth is so dry, give me some water. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 315. Lu Ligan took the water on the bedside table, unscrewed the bottle cap and handed it to Huang Mei. Huang Mei snuggled in Lu Ligan's arms and took 2 sips. The water splashed out and hit Lu Ligan's chest, which was cool. Huang Mei returned the water to Lu Ligan and continued. When my father returned to the hotel, he and his apprentice were very depressed. Although the loss of 100,000 yuan could not save his life, he was not willing to go back like this. He thought of Director Liang. At that time, almost all stainless steel in the country was produced by Taiyuan Iron and Steel Co., Limited. Director Liang was in control of the lifeblood of stainless steel in the country. He was very famous in his industry and was well known. My father thought to himself that he had never had the opportunity to meet Director Liang. Didn't we meet today and even talk to each other? Why don't we go there again? My father wanted to make up his mind, so he immediately ran to Taiyuan Iron and Steel Co., Limited and found Director Liang. Director Liang was actually a very nice person. When he saw my father coming back, he asked, "Has that person been found?" My father just say, "No, not only was the money stolen by him, but the 2 hams he gave you were thrown on the roof and picked up by others." Director Liang quickly said, "I didn't take your ham." My father said, "I know you didn't take it." "No, I originally carried it all this way to give it to you." "I didn't expect to meet a liar." Director Liang, "I didn't talk about you, I talked about that bastard." I know, Director Liang said, and both of them laughed. They talked more. My father introduced his factory to him, and also talked about companies like theirs, which are now engaged in steel products. How difficult it is. Director Liang sympathized with my father. He must have thought that this man was deceived all the way to Taiyuan, could not buy a pound of steel, and had 100,000 yuan stolen. He thought for a moment, and my father, he said, "Since you have been defrauded of so much money by others, how about I help you and batch 60 tons of steel for you?" But, just this time. 60 tons. For a factory like my dad's, that's more than half a year's consumption. My dad was so happy that he almost jumped up. "Thank you very much." He took the bill of lading and took the train back with his 2 apprentices overnight. He wanted to raise money before going to Taiyuan. The bill of lading had a 1-month deadline. After the date, it would be invalid. How did my father know that there was a bigger disaster waiting for him at home? After Huang Mei said this, she stopped talking. Lu Ligan asked tentatively, "You mean, when your father comes home, your mother will be gone?" Not only did she disappear, she took all the money in the house, including valuables, and ran away with them, Huang Mei said angrily. I clearly remember that morning, probably the 3rd day after my father went to Taiyuan. When I went to school in the morning, I was in the 2nd grade of junior high school at the time. She told me to go to my grandparents after school and tell her that she had to go out for a few days for something and asked me to stay at my grandparents' house for a few days. Well, she gave me 10 yuan. I still have these $10. If I saw her and asked that question, I would tear up the $10 and throw it in her face. Really, Lao Ma, I really will do it. Huang Mei was trembling all over. Lu Ligan hugged her, knowing that she was angry. Lu Ligan took the water on the bedside table and handed it to her. After Huang Mei took another sip of water, she gradually calmed down. My father came back from Taiyuan and saw that there was no one at home. He wanted to take his passbook to the bank to withdraw money. He went to Taiyuan the next day, but he couldn't find the passbook. When he arrived at the factory cashier told him that there was no money in the company's account. The money was transferred to your bank book by the landlady, and my father felt strange. He and the cashier went to the bank to ask, only to find out that all the money had been taken away by my mother. My dad ran to my grandma's place, and when he saw me, he finally felt relieved. He thought that as long as I was still here, no matter what happened, my mom would always come back. We returned home and rechecked the house, only to find that all the valuable things in the house had been taken away, including the jewelry my father bought for my mother, the treasury bills at home, and even, the items in my drawer. Yes, all the more than 3,000 yuan of New Year's money I had saved was taken away. From that moment on, I knew that my mother would not come back. Think about it, what kind of woman doesn't even let go of her children's New Year's money when she runs away from home? Is there such a mother in this world? Is this kind of person worthy of being a mother? My father asked around, and later he found out from a person who usually played mahjong with my mother that my mother ran away with a gangster who played mahjong with her every day. No one knew where she went. Of course, my father he didn't say anything to me at that time. Of course my father's factory can't continue to operate. Not only can the factory not continue to operate, but he has no shame to stay in the local area anymore. How famous you are, when you fall, you will lose face. It would be so miserable, wouldn't it? My father gave the factory to a few apprentices, and he was going to go to Shenzhen to work. Fortunately, he had the bill of lading approved by Director Liang. My father couldn't use it himself, and he didn't have the ability to pick up the goods. He put it this order was resold to other factories and earned more than 30,000 yuan. He left me and other money with my grandparents and went to Shenzhen with 5,000 yuan. There is one person who must go with my father, and that is my current aunt. She is my father's only female apprentice. She must go with my father. My father had no choice, so he took her with him. When they arrived in Shenzhen, we went through a lot of hardships, but fortunately, my father and my aunt both had skills and were able to gradually establish themselves in Shenzhen. After they had some money, they opened a small stainless steel processing factory, mainly to undertake the business of various decoration companies. At that time, weren't stainless steel columns and stainless steel spiral staircases popular in hotels and units? Their business was also good. My father later became very good friends with Director Liang. Director Liang was very helpful to my father. My father also made some money by shipping stainless steel from Taiyuan to Shenzhen. One day, two soldiers came to the factory. They asked me in detail about my father and aunt, their names, where they were from, their family background, where their hometown was, including their address, etc. They all wrote them down. My father, when I asked them what happened, they refused to say anything and just smiled and left. Although my father and aunt were confused, they didn't take it seriously. They relied on their crafts to make a living and had never done anything bad, so there was nothing to worry about. Unexpectedly, after more than a week, these two soldiers met again. When they came, they showed my dad a drawing and asked him to help make this. When my dad saw it, he saw a very common thing, which was two stainless steel railings more than 10 meters long, like the railings of many iron pipes outside the ticket office. The two rails were placed side by side so that people could pass through the middle. The two soldiers asked my dad if this thing could be made. My dad laughed and said, "What's so difficult about it? We need to pick up the materials in the factory and bend them on the pipe bending machine where they should be bent. Then send 2 people just go to the site and do the welding. The 2 soldiers said that no one else can be sent, but you 2 can go by yourself. We have understood it. You are an 8th level welder with very good skills. She is your apprentice, right? My father was heartbroken. I was shocked, and then I realized that it was more than a week after they came last time, and then they came again. It turned out that they were going to understand the situation of myself and my aunt. My father told them, okay, then we will go there ourselves. The other party also said that it must be kept secret. Even where you are going to build, you can't tell others, and you can't tell others when you are done. Is that okay? Of course my father didn't answer. Question. My dad is very attentive. He asked where this thing is installed. Don't get me wrong, I don't mean anything else. It's just that this thing is used in different places and has different material requirements. The other parties looked at each other, and one of them told my dad that this was installed in the yard for exercise for an old man. This old man's legs and feet were not very good and he was very strong. He refused to let the nurse support him. When walking, we thought about making such a passage so that he could walk while holding onto the steel pipes on both sides, which would be safe. My dad nodded and said, if that's the case, then these 2 thick stainless steel pipes for the handrails should be frosted. This way, firstly, they won't be too slippery and the old man can hold them firmly, and secondly, they won't give a slip. Man, that's a very cold feeling. The 2 soldiers were very happy after hearing what my father said. They said that my father's idea was very good and they would do as you said. They asked my father how much time it would take to prepare. My father told them that in 2 days. They said yes, we will pick you up in 2 days. Lao Ma, are you asleep? Huang Mei asked. No, no, Lu Ligan said quickly. Then why is there no sound at all? I was fascinated, Lu Ligan said. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 316. Tell me about beauty, what happened next? Lu Ligan asked. Later, 2 days later, the 2 soldiers came again, and a truck came. They loaded the stainless steel materials and tools that my father and others had prepared, such as welders and cutting machines, into the truck. Asked my father and aunt to get in their car, and the car drove out of Shenzhen City, towards Nan'ao, until it reached a yard surrounded by mountains and sea. There were soldiers standing guard at the door of the yard. There was a small 3-story house in the yard. The car parked in the open space in front of the house. Someone immediately came out from the house to help unload the goods. 2 soldiers pointed to a piece of green on the left side of the open space. Lawn, I told my father and others to install it here. My dad and the others started working immediately. The place was very quiet. The sound of my dad and the others working quickly attracted the attention of the people inside the house. Many people came out to take a look. After a while, there was an old man sitting down. In his wheelchair, he was pushed by the nursing staff to the door of the house. When he saw someone working in the yard, he immediately became interested and must come and take a look. The 2 nursing staff had no choice but to push the wheelchair over. My father and aunt both knew that this must be a big shot, but when they approached, my father was still stunned. He saw a familiar face. He had seen this face on TV and knew he was a senior leader, but he didn't expect to see him in real life here. My father and aunt couldn't help but stop what they were doing. At that time, my father was drawing lines with lime on the lawn, and my aunt was welding thin stainless steel pipes to thick handrail pipes. They stood there awkwardly. After the old man saw my aunt take off the welding mask, he was a little surprised and shouted, Oh, not bad, she is still a female general, my aunt smiled shyly. The old man told my dad, keep going, you do your work. My dad stood there with some embarrassment and looked at the nursing staff. A soldier understood what was going on and came over immediately and said to the old man, Chief, they are doing electric welding, and the light from the electric welding pierces your eyes, which is not good for your eyes. The chief reprimanded, it's nonsense. At Dao Mountain, the Japanese's small steel cannons fell right next to us. We still broke through their encirclement. What are we afraid of with this little light of electric welding? He turned around and asked my father and the others in a kind tone, two young comrades, I will just watch from the side while you work, don't you interrupt. My dad quickly said not to disturb him. As he spoke, he looked at the soldier. The soldier nodded and motioned for my dad and the others to continue. My dad and my aunt could only continue, and my aunt spoke to me in our hometown dialect. Dad said that he didn't expect this old leader to be very stubborn. My father smiled, but the chief suddenly also spoke in our hometown dialect, hey, little comrade, don't think I don't understand if you say bad things about me. My father and aunt were really surprised by this. They didn't expect that this chief could not only understand our hometown dialect, but also speak it. My aunt's face turned red and she stood there, not knowing what to do. Is good. The chief laughed loudly and said, what do you think, two fellows, my sneak attack was successful, come on, take a rest first. The soldier quickly ran back to the house, brought out two stools, and gave them to my father and aunt to sit on. The three of them chatted in their hometown dialect. The chief told my father and the others that he was returning to his hometown for the last time. It was 1953, and it has been more than 30 years now. My father said, but the chief's local accent has not changed at all, and he is still so authentic when he speaks. The chief was very happy. He said that what was born in the mother's womb cannot be changed. He asked about the current situation in his hometown, and my father and aunt told him in detail. He kept nodding while listening, and the three of them just kept talking. While chatting, my father and my aunt did not do much work that day. The work that could have been done in one day ended up working there for 3 days. The time spent working was not much time to talk to the chief. The chief was very happy. He and my father said that I came here to recuperate and serve. The most effective medicine I found was meeting you two fellow villagers, the chief's wife. I was very happy to see the chief's interests so high, and joined in to chat together. After the work was done, the chief and his wife were very reluctant to part with them. They asked my father and aunt to visit them often. Of course my father agreed, but he had doubts in his heart. He thought that such a big official was just a friend. We ordinary people are just being polite. Unexpectedly, a few days later, the two soldiers came again. This time they didn't come to invite my father and the others to work. Instead, they said that the chief missed my father and the others and wanted to invite them over for dinner. Of course my father was very happy. When we got there, my aunt remembered and went to the kitchen to fry two hometown dishes and asked the chief to taste them. As soon as the chief ate them, he shouted that they were delicious. It really tasted like what I had tasted when I was a child. From then on, my father and aunt visited the chief and his wife whenever they had time. Even the guard at the door knew them. Later, when they went there, they didn't even check. Maybe it was because the chief had told him. I always tell my dad and aunt that when you get here, it's like you're at your own home. You don't have to check when you get home, right? My father often met local leaders in that yard to visit the old chief. Every time he met, the chief would happily introduce my father to them, saying that he was his fellow countryman and responded to the call for reform and opening up. I came to Shenzhen to start a business, and so on. That's how my father and many local leaders got to know each other. Later on, many of them became friends with my father, and they really helped my father a lot. My father's factory in Shenzhen also grew bigger and bigger. When Hainan was established as a province, weren't many people in the preparatory team drawn from various departments in Shenzhen. They had experience in setting up special zones. Several of them were my father's friends. They all encouraged my father to go there. Coming from Hainan. In the early days of the founding of the province, Hainan was full of waste and opportunities, and with the help of friends, my father's business became bigger and bigger. People are like this. When it gets bigger, your heart may swell. I became more and more courageous, feeling that I was omnipotent, fearless, and there was nothing I couldn't do. My father was like this. I still don't know whether it is good or bad for my father to come to Hainan. On the surface, he has done a great job and made a lot of money, but is it worth it? As it is now, the whole family cannot live well together, no matter how much money there is. What's the point? When Huang Mei said this, she sighed deeply. Did your mother show up later? Lu Ligan asked. No, it never showed up. Huang Mei said, because of this, my father and she couldn't divorce even after getting married. The reason why my father ran this company that he didn't dare to hold any nominal position and was only a shadow dancer was because he was worried about my mother. One day she will suddenly appear and ask for divorce and property division, so half of my father and aunt have been working for her for so many years. Then your father and aunt. They live together but are not married. My aunt has no status, but my father is considerate. Chairman Chentu of Jingfa Group is my aunt's father. How is your relationship with your aunt? Lu Ligan asked. It's a very strange relationship. I can only say that I understand her more and sympathize with her. When I was young, I was ignorant and thought that my mother's departure had something to do with her. I hated her for a while. Later, my grandparents, they told me everything about them and my mother. I also went through that stage myself, and I realized that my mother's departure had nothing to do with her. As for my father, fortunately she has been around to take care of and help me for so many years. I later understood that I don't hate her anymore. It should be said that she is very good to me and is more like my mother than my mother. Maybe she treats me too much well, it makes our relationship seem unnatural and makes me feel a lot of pressure. Why do you say that? Lu Ligan was surprised. To give two small examples, one is that my aunt doesn't have a child of her own. Why? It's all because of me. My father once persuaded her to have a child of her own. She said, we already have Xiaorong, that's me. Why do you need a child? Isn't Xiaorong my daughter? My father tried to persuade her again, but she told my father, please stop talking. If I really have another child, of course I can keep a bowl of water balanced, but no matter how good I am, Xiaorong will feel disappointed. It's a good family, and I don't want it to be torn apart by the addition of another person. That's what she told my dad. So, your aunt is really nice, Lu Ligan sighed. Yes, great, I'm feeling stressed. Now I feel that they don't have children, it's all because of me. Do you think it's a sin or not? Also, when I'm at home, my aunt seems to be very careful, even some of them seem to be catering to me and flattering me. They always say, Xiaorong, do you think this is good? Xiaorong, just tell me what you want. As a result, I felt depressed at home, because I didn't want her to be like this, so I thought she would be better and more relaxed when I was not at home, so I found various reasons to run outside and stay at home. I can't stay at home for a long time, especially when my aunt knocks on my door and gives me such and such gifts, I will feel uncomfortable all over. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 317. You went to Guangzhou and Ningbo and didn't see your mother, Lu Ligan asked. No, I was deceived, Huang Mei said. Ah, who lied to you? My uncle, aunt, and aunt, it can be said that their family is all bastards. I don't know how bastards my grandparents are to give birth to such a litter of little bastards. Huang Mei cursed angrily. They lied me, it's not just once, I actually know that they are lying to me, but there is no way, this may be the only possibility to find my mother, so they can only lie to me. Lu Ligan was surprised and asked, why did they lie to you? Cheating money. They know my father is rich, but they don't dare to lie to my father, and they can't. They can't even talk to me, so they come to lie to me. Huang Mei said, just like this time, my uncle he called me to Guangzhou and told me that someone had seen my mother in Liuhua some time ago and said that my mother might have gone to Shantou now. He was going to take leave to look for her in Shantou. Then he told me how much money he had spent to find my mother. If he went to Shantou, he would be deducted by the work unit. He was nagging me all day long. I was so nagging at him. I gave him tens of thousands of dollars. Do you know that you are indulging him in this way? Lu Ligan said. I know, but there is no way. If my mother still contacts anyone, the only ones are her brother and sister, the one in Ningbo. I can only go through them, like my aunt, I mean the one in Ningbo. This time she lied to me that my mother was going to Ningbo, but she was actually deceiving me because her daughter was diagnosed with leukemia. But I arrived, what can I do? The little girl hugged me, cried and said to me, sister, sister, help me, what do you think I can do? After all, she is really my sister, there is no way I can only call my aunt at home. She also sympathized with them and arranged a sum of money for them. When Huang Mei said this, she sighed again, fortunately, it's all over now. Even if I want to find it, it's impossible. No matter how much they try to deceive me, they can't. The two people were talking like this, and the sky outside unknowingly became bright. The whole night, they did not draw the curtains or turn on the lights. The two people lay there, staring blankly at the blue-white sky outside the window. Lao Ma. After talking to you so much, I feel like I have given all of myself to you. Lu Ligan turned his head and kissed Huang Mei. Huang Mei and Lu Ligan said, Lao Ma, I'm going back. My father and aunt must be waiting for me. They probably haven't slept all night. Lu Ligan's heart skipped a beat. The time to say goodbye was really coming. He hugged Huang Mei, and Huang Mei hugged him, and suddenly burst into tears. Lao Ma, will we never see each other again in this life? Lu Ligan also cried. He said, no, Seattle is not far away. It will only take more than 10 hours. I will definitely come to see you. Real. Lao Ma, I will miss you. I will miss you too. Lu Ligan sat in the passenger seat and stared intently at Huang Mei, who was holding the steering wheel. Huang Mei turned to look at him and smiled reluctantly. What are you looking at? Haven't you seen enough? No, I will never see enough, Lu Ligan said. I regret it now. What do you regret? Why didn't we take advantage of all the time to be together before? Do you think it would be a bit boring if we stayed together for a long time? If that were the case, it would be fine. Now I won't feel so painful in my heart. I regret it too. Huang Mei looked forward and said thoughtfully. What do you regret? I regret why I spent so much time looking for my mother, the person who should be forgotten. Just forget her completely. Why waste time on her anymore? It's not worth it, it's really not worth it. Huang Mei kept shaking her head. Huang Mei drove past the Huandao Tide Hotel, turned right into the tree-lined road, and stopped the car. The two of them hugged and kissed in the car. It was not known how long it took before they started again. He started the car, but after driving 20 or 30 meters, he stopped. The two continued to hug and kiss. They didn't know how many times they stopped and started on this short 200-meter-long tree-lined road. It felt like they were just walking and stopping like this, as if they had walked a lifetime. But the stainless steel door finally appeared in front of them. Huang Mei put her right hand on the car horn and stopped there for a long time without pressing it. Huang Mei shook her head and said, "No, I won't, Lao Ma. I want to go back to the intersection and let's walk again." Lu Ligan said yes. Huang Mei was about to reverse the car when the small door on the stainless steel door in front opened, and a middle-aged man with a pale face came out. Huang Mei was taken aback and shouted, "Dad." Huang Mei got out of the car, followed by Lu Ligan. Huang Mei walked to her father, and his father asked, "Why did you come back?" "I'm with my friends," Huang Mei said. Lu Ligan stood behind Huang Mei and quickly called out, "Hello, uncle." Huang Mei's father said nothing and had no expression on his face. He just looked at Lu Ligan coldly, with eyes like a falcon. Lu Ligan felt that this was like the gaze of a master in a martial arts novel, which made people look at him. Don't dare to make mistakes in front of others. For such a person, it wouldn't be surprising if he locked you up on Wuzi Mountain and squatted in a pig cage. But he turned to Huang Mei. When he looked at Huang Mei, his eyes were loving. He gently said to Huang Mei, "Go in quickly, your aunt is waiting for you." Huang Mei hummed and wanted to go back to the car, but her father said, "Stop here and let them drive." Huang Mei said yes. She turned around, walked a few steps, hugged Lu Ligan, and said to Lu Ligan, "Goodbye, Lao Ma." Lu Ligan also hugged Huang Mei, but his eyes secretly looked at her father. Her father turned sideways and looked away. Huang Mei let go of Lu Ligan, walked past her father, and walked in the door. Wang's father was still standing there. Lu Ligan said goodbye to his uncle and turned to leave. Lu Ligan had just taken 2 steps when a voice behind him shouted, "Stop." Lu Ligan stopped. He turned around and looked at Wang's father. Wang's father still looked at him with the eyes of a boss. He said, "Where are you going, and I'll have someone take you off." "No, uncle, I'll just go to the intersection outside and stop a car." "Thank you, uncle," Lu Ligan said. Dad Huang nodded slightly. Lu Ligan turned around and walked a dozen steps forward. He heard the door behind him click and close. The clicking sound was like a switch. Lu Li felt empty in his heart instantly. Beautiful, beautiful, Huang Mei. His Huang Mei was really about to leave. Seattle was not far away, and the Pacific Ocean was not something you wanted to fly over. Just fly over. Lu Ligan suddenly felt that everything around him was illusory, giving people an unreal feeling. Lu Ligan reached the road outside, turned left, and walked forward in a daze. Cars passed by him one after another. Every time he thought of calling for a car, every car came. Already far away, he kept walking forward until he reached the People's Bridge. There were several caravans parked at the end of the People's Bridge. Lu Ligan didn't get on them. He wanted to walk across the People's Bridge and sit on the other side of the bridge. He walked to the People's Bridge. The morning sun had dyed the bridge deck red. Lu Ligan had a dream-like feeling. Under the People's Bridge, the Haitian River was covered with golden light, stretching into the distance and disappearing in the coconut trees on both sides. Here, Lu Ligan really wanted to jump down and melt into this golden light, or flap his wings and fly higher and deeper into the sky. He walked across the People's Bridge. At the head of the People's Bridge, there were several caravans parked there. Lu Ligan still didn't get on them. He wanted to just keep walking forward, so he decided to go to Changde Road and turn right, passing by the sea. City Bell Tower, turn left and walk to Xinhua North Road opposite. On both sides of Xinhua North Road are the old arcade streets. Continue walking along this old street to Xinhua South Road, enter from the north gate of People's Park, cross the West Lake, and walk to Park Road. He has to continue to turn right, turn from Park Road to Datong Road, turn left at the west gate of People's Park, and continue forward, which is the southwest gate of People's Park. Today's People's Park and People's Bridge are full of people, every day. People, but among these people, one less Huang Meili will be lost today. Every day in the future, people will continue to be crowded in the city, but Huang Meili will be gone every day. Lu Ligan really wanted to stop like this and burst into tears. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 318. When Lu Ligan walked to Wanghai Tower, it was still early and Zhang Chen hadn't come to work yet. Lu Ligan was tired. He felt that he had been completely hollowed out. Now he was just a scarecrow, or a hollow man. We are hollow people, we are people filled with straw, leaning against each other, with our heads filled with straw. These lines of Eliot's poem suddenly popped into his head, and Lu Ligan grinned. He thought, this world is so damn poetic. He sat down at the door of Zhang Chen's office, leaning against the closed door, staring straight at the open space in front of him. Two people were unloading a cart of sand. When the sand was lifted up by the shovel, the blue sky turned into the sky was gray. Lu Li tilted his head and fell asleep. Zhang Chen walked to the door of the office and was startled. He saw Lu Ligan sitting on the ground at the door, with his back leaning against the door, his head tilted to one side, and there were faint traces of tears on his face. He looked tired, like a bird. A big bird whose wings were broken and abandoned here. Zhang Chen walked over, kicked him, and shouted, "Hey, Mr. Lu, wake up." Lu Ligan opened his eyes drowsily and saw Zhang Chen. He stared at him blankly for a while, then looked around and murmured to himself, "Why am I sleeping here? Yes, even if you, Mr. Lu, go to sleep in Cao Kuoking's work shed, it would be better than sleeping here. It would be too damaging to your image." Lu Ligan seemed to want to smile, but that smile was actually uglier than crying. He struggled to stand up and put his hand on Zhang Chen's shoulder before he could stand still. Zhang Chen took out the key and opened the door. Lu Ligan he followed in and fell on the chair opposite Zhang Chen. "What's wrong with you?" Zhang Chen asked. Lu Ligan shook his head, "Nothing. I didn't sleep all night." "Oh? Who are you with?" Zhang Chen joked, "Number 1 Lu Yun, number 2 Huang Meili, or number 3 and 4 merged Wen Wen and Qian." Lu Ligan looked at him and answered the question, "Zhang Chen, Huang Meili is not someone else's mistress. Hey, is it more difficult for you to choose?" Lu Ligan smiled bitterly and shook his head. He said, "What do you choose?" "I have no choice. Huang Meili is leaving." "Let's go." "Where?" Zhang Chen asked curiously. Lu Ligan didn't say anything. Zhang Chen looked at him and understood why he was acting like this. It looked like Huang Meili would never come back after leaving. "Gangzi, are you going to send Sun Ho and the others off this morning?" Zhang Chen asked. Lu Ligan was shocked and woke up. He had long forgotten about this matter. When Zhang Chen said it, he remembered that this was the most important thing for him this morning. "Forgot the hell," Lu Ligan said and stood up to leave. Zhang Chen scolded, "You're going to see your leader like this?" After walking so much ahead, Lu Ligan didn't know how much he sweated. The clothes on his body had been soaked several times. Lu Ligan sniffed and smelled a strange smell. "What should we do?" Lu Ligan asked. Zhang Chen threw the key to his room over and told Lu Ligan to go to my place, take a quick shower, find some clothes from the cabinet and change before coming back. Okay, Lu Lipol agreed repeatedly. Zhang Chen stood up, he said, "Forget it, I'll take you there, you look so lost, it would be weird if you didn't bump into someone on the road." Lu Ligan chuckled. The motorcycle was still parked at the Pearl Building. Zhang Chen ran to the warehouse and saw that Cao Kuoking was still here, so he took his bicycle, took Lu Lipol with him, and pedaled all the way back to Wenmingdong. The two of them walked upstairs. Zhang Chen was stunned for a moment. Gu Shufang probably heard the door opening below and wondered who would come at this time. She walked to the stairs on the third floor and saw Zhang Chen and Lu Lipol coming up. Walked away again. Lu Ligan took a towel and went to the bathroom. Zhang Chen found his clothes and pants from the cabinet and threw them on the bed. Lu Ligan sent Sun Ho and the others back. It was already past 11 o'clock. Lu Ligan dunked Huang Mei. Huang Mei didn't call back, so he called her big brother again. What came from the phone was a rapid beep. Lu Ligan put down the microphone and sat blankly. Zhang Chen called him several times before he reacted and looked at Zhang Chen. You don't even have to eat, right? Zhang Chen asked. Lu Ligan shook his head. If you don't want to eat, what will you eat? I'm going to go crazy. Oh, how crazy? Lu Ligan picked up the phone on the table, dialed the number in Huang Jianren's office, and said to him, Xiao Huang, please bring the company's transfer check, cash check, whatever checks you have, and bring them with you. Let's go buy a car and a mobile phone. By the way, can you ride a motorcycle? Meeting. Great, go to the drawer next to my desk, get the key, and ride to the East Lake recruitment wall to find me. Don't know the place? Don't you humming ask if you don't know the place? Isn't there a mouth under the nose? After Lu Ligan cursed, he threw the phone down. You're just crazy like this. Huang Mei is gone. Why don't you use public funds to buy things to vent? Zhang Chen looked at Lu Ligan and couldn't help but laugh. What do you know? This is what I have to do in the past 2 days. My mind is blank right now and I can't do anything else. To do this, at least I don't have to use my brain. Lu Ligan stood up and said, let's go, come with me. One time. What? Let's hire Cao Ziahe. There is always a driver first, and then a car. Lu Ligan took 2 steps, then stood still, cursing to himself, Hamid, you can't even do this without thinking. I almost forgot, Zhang Chen, get paper and pen. What? Write a job posting for me. Zhang Chen wanted to get a piece of lead drawing paper from the cabinet. He thought of it and took the drawing board off the top of the cabinet. Yesterday's unfinished rendering was still pinned on it. He took the rendering off and turned it over to spread the noodles. On the table, the 2 characters recruitment were written. Lu Ligan stood on the side and said, 1 driver, male or female, 1 cashier, female, under 25 years old, any education level, with work experience, just beautiful, 1 office clerk, with a high school degree, pretty is fine, but a high school degree or above is not required. Zhang Chen scolded, are you recruiting people or doing a beauty pageant? In the office, you see it every day. Wouldn't it be nice to be more beautiful? What if you don't need a high school degree or above? I've never gone to college myself. Don't you think it's a waste of the country's talents to recruit a college student to serve you tea every day? Damn it, don't you want 3 people from the Chinese department of Peking University to dictate your autobiography around you? That was my idea when I was young. But now it has changed. Now I feel that all autobiographies are just for wiping my humming ass. I guarantee that 99 of the 100 pages will be lies. Zhang Chen threw away the pen and said, it's such a cheap recruitment notice, you can do it yourself. Lu Ligan rolled his eyes at Zhang Chen, picked up the pen, and started writing under the word recruitment. Zhang Chen watched him finish writing, and the content was, 1 driver, male or female, 1 office clerk, female, 1 cashier, female. Okay, Zhang Chen asked. All right. What the hell are you talking about? You don't understand again. If the leader says something that should be written, write what should be written, and what should not be written, just treat it as if he has never said it before, Lu Ligan said with a smile. You, Zhang Chen yelled, and Lu Ligan burst out laughing. This smile made his heart hurt, and he almost burst into tears. They arrived at the East Lake recruitment wall, and the 2 of them were standing there. A security guard saw Lu Ligan, walked over, and asked, Director Lu, are you here for inspection today? Lu Ligan snorted and handed the rolled paper to the security guard. The security guard opened it and cursed, "Damn it, poaching again. Don't be nagging, help me lift it up." Lou Ligon said, "You are more trustworthy here." The security guard hesitated for a moment, then looked at the small house, raised the recruitment notice, and with a whoop, a large circle of people surrounded them. Lou Ligon quickly said, "Okay, let's come one by one. Those who apply for the driver position will raise their hands first." A dozen people raised their hands. Lou Ligon thought for a moment and said, "Those who can eat spicy food will stay, and those who can't, thank you." 4 or 5 people walked away. "Are there any from Zhejiang?" Zhang Chen asked. Everyone hesitated, but one young man said, "I am from Tonglu." "Which unit was he originally in?" Lou Ligon asked. "Hydraulic machinery factory." "The one at Keelilong?" "Yes, Fukun River Hydropower Station." "Why did you come to Hainan?" "Isn't it because you came to fight and kill people?" Lou Ligon asked. No, I didn't kill anyone." "Then there was a fight." "I beat up our factory director." "If the factory wants to punish me, I will quit." "Why beat him?" This forces him to molest my sister-in-law." Everyone around laughed, and the young man's face turned red. Lou Ligon said, "Okay, it's just you. You've been admitted. Just stand aside and wait. All the other drivers who applied for the job have left." Thank you." Apply cashier raises his hand. Many women raised their hands, and Lou Ligon said, "It is best if you are married and your husband is also in Haikan." Most people put down their hands, and there were 3 or 4 people who raised their hands. Lou Ligon gave them his company's business card and asked them to go to the company for an interview tomorrow morning. Zhang Chen was watching from the side. It looked like there was no one under the age of 25, and no one was beautiful. Then I selected 2 more clerk applicants and asked them to go for interviews tomorrow. These 2 were very beautiful, and they both seemed to be under the age of 25. Lou Lepole patted the security guard on the shoulder, took out a pack of cigarettes from his bag and gave it to him, saying, "Thank you, brother." The security guard returned the recruitment notice to Lou Ligon. Lou Ligon said, "This is for you too. Look at the office on the back. How beautiful it is. Post it on the wall and look at it. Encourage yourself every day. You must be so beautiful in the future. How nice is an office." The security guard looked at it, nodded happily, and rolled up the recruitment notice. "You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 319. The young man's surname was Wu, and his name was Wu Zayawai. Zhang Chen and Lou Ligon were squatting in the shade of the trees on the side of the road, waiting for Huang Jianren. Wu Zayawai didn't know what they were squatting here for, but since Lou Ligon asked him to follow, he followed. Squatting on the curb with them, Lou Ligon asked Wu Zayawai, "Do you have a place to live?" Yes, I live with a fellow villager, and I just lack a job." Wu Zayawai chuckled, "but now I have one." "Have you ever worked in Haikan?" Lou Ligon asked. "No, I've only been here a few days, and I'm looking for a job every day." "Where can I find a job?" "How many companies have you interviewed at?" "I can't tell you exactly. Anyway, there must be more than a dozen running around every day." "What's the highest salary they can offer?" 1,002. "Then why didn't you go?" "Of course I want to go, but they don't want me. There are more than 100 people queuing up." Lou Ligon smiled and said, "It's quite honest. Okay, I'll give you 1,003. "Real?" "Of course, I am the boss, can I keep my word?" "How about it, are you satisfied or not?" "Satisfied, Mr. Liu. If you are satisfied, Work hard and I won't treat you badly. However, we have said ugly things up front. If you don't work hard, I don't care whether you are a fellow countryman or not. I will fire you. Look at the shoe polisher on Hixia Road. They are all our young fellows, and I have no shortage of fellows. I will definitely do it well, Mr. Liu. Huang Jianren rode his motorcycle and stopped in front of them. Lu Ligan looked at his watch, looked up at him and said, "You have been riding for more than half an hour, for more than 10 minutes, I really belong to you." Huang Jianren defended, "I've never been here before, I asked all the way." Lu Ligan asked Wu Zaya, "Why, how many days have you been in Hainan?" "5 days. Do you know about Longji Tower?" "Of course I know. Tell me how to get to Longji building from here." Wu Zaya blurted out a list of road names without thinking. Lu Ligan looked at Huang Jianren and said, "He has been here for 5 days, how long have you been here? How big is Haikan?" Huang Jianren's face turned red and he remained silent. Lu Ligan said, "Don't think too much. I'm asking you this. I have no other meaning. You will suffer the loss because you have never looked for a job. You are the vice president when you come here. Let me tell you, looking for a job is the best way to remember the road name. I asked you to come here because I wanted you to see that there are so many people behind you. Do you see that they are all looking for jobs? Not many of them are as lucky as you. But next, you have to fight with them. All of them are keen on competition, do you understand what I mean? If we can't compete with them, we will all be doomed. If it's over, you can probably go back to Beijing and still sit in your office, but it won't look good on your face. And I will definitely have to come here and look for a job in such a strong Sunday. I don't want to live like this again. Days, do you understand? So I will be stricter at work in the future, please forgive me for today." "I know, Mr. Liu," Huang Jianren said in a low voice. Lu Ligan turned around and scolded Wu Zaya, "Don't be complacent. You are the driver. It is your job to remember the route. You should remember it after 1 day." Zhang Chen looked on and smiled, knowing that this was Lu Ligan's show of force. Wu Zaya quickly said, "Yes, that's what Mr. Liu said. I'm not bragging to you. As long as there is a store or building with a store name on both sides of the road in Haikan, if you ask me, I promise to tell you clearly where it is," Lu Ligan said. Lu Ligan introduced Wu Zaya and Huang Jianren to each other. Huang Jianren was surprised. He asked Lu Ligan, "Is Xiao Wu the driver of our company?" "Yes." "Motorcyclist." Not only Lu Ligan, but Zhang Chen also laughed. Lu Ligan cursed, "Damn it, have you ever seen a motorcycle hire a driver?" Huang Jianren was stunned. "Did you bring the check?" Lu Ligan asked. Take it. Didn't I tell you on the phone that I would buy a car in the afternoon? After buying the car, but without a driver, you and I would carry the car back to the company." "Really?" Huang Jianren shouted excitedly. "Of course. Aren't you always nagging about buying a car? Why don't you go buy it today?" Okay. I'm going to buy a mobile phone this afternoon, 1 for you, 1 for me, and 3 more BB machines, 1 for Xiao Wu. What about the other 2? There will be 2 more people tomorrow. People in our company must have smooth communication. When I have to work, I can go to and from get off work no matter what time of day or night," Lu Ligan said. "It doesn't matter, Mr. Liu. I'm single anyway and have nothing to do. Whenever you call me, I'll be there right away," Wu Zaya said. "I'm a bachelor too," Huang Jianren also shouted. "Okay, it's good to have this attitude," Lu Lepole nodded. Lu Ligan stood up, looked at his watch again, reached out and patted Huang Jianren and Wu Zaya, and said to them, "Let's go to dinner first. This is our company's first dinner, and you two are officially welcome to join us." The 4 of us went to the Dongyang Hot Pot restaurant. After sitting down, the four of us were all hungry and soon we were sweating profusely. As the atmosphere became warmer, people got closer and relaxed, and they talked more. Wu Kai probably held it in for a long time. At this time, he couldn't help but ask Lu Ligan. "Mr. Lu, I saw you recruiting workers and cashiers earlier. Why do you want to recruit people who are married, preferably with husbands in Hiken? I see that when other companies recruit workers, they like to recruit unmarried people." A monk who can escape cannot escape from the temple. Before Lu Ligan could say anything, Huang Jianren spoke. Lu Ligan smiled and said, "Let's see, Mr. Huang and I have the same vision. This cashier is exposed to cash every day, how can he not be cautious? If I can find one, I would like to recruit a local from Hainan." Huang Jianren nodded and raised his thumb. "Before coming here, you said you should be under 25 years old and pretty. Why have you changed your mind now that you're here?" Zhang Chen scolded. "While walking on the road, I figured it out. In addition to the fact that married people are more reliable, there is another reason, mainly to guard against him." Lu Lepol pointed at Huang Jianren. "Defend me," Huang Jianren asked strangely, "is it none of my business? Of course I have to guard against you. I'm going to recruit someone who is young and beautiful. You guys will interact with me every day at work. How can you not be tempted? Damn it, if your accountant and cashier hook up, the general manager, won't be affected by you. Will I help you count the money after I sell it?" Everyone laughed. "But Mr. Lu, I think the two you hired behind are quite beautiful," Wu Zayawai said. "Are you excited?" Lu Ligan said with a smile. "If you are excited, that's right. The clerk is in the office and is responsible for welcoming and delivering the best people. Everyone will be excited when they see it. This is the image of our company. Also, if there is a beautiful woman in the office, will you two be more motivated to work? Aren't you afraid that I will hook up with her?" Huang Jianren asked. "Get out of here," Lu Ligan scolded. "I'm afraid of you and the cashier, and what am I afraid of with the clerk? You can do whatever you want." After dinner, Zhang Chen had something to do at the construction site and wanted to go back to the construction site. Lu Ligan gave Zhang Chen his motorcycle. The three of them took a taxi to buy a car. Lu Ligan and Zhang Chen said to wait for me in the office. After buying it, we will celebrate again in the evening and go a little further to Gilinyang to eat seafood. Zhang Chen smiled and said yes. In the evening, Lu Ligan came alone and dejectedly. Zhang Chen looked outside the door and asked, "Where is the car?" "Still in the car dealership," Lu Ligan said weakly. "My conscience found out and I didn't buy it." "Bought it, but won't Humming move it?" "Why?" "They said that the check was handed over today and would have to be exchanged tomorrow morning before it could arrive. They had to wait for the money to arrive before they could let us drive the car away. Even after trying to talk for a long time, it didn't work. Damn it, I hired a driver a day in advance. You have to pay one more day's wages." Zhang Chen laughed loudly. "Okay, this is a good settlement. Of course, don't waste public money. Save whatever you can." Lu Ligan glanced at Zhang Chen angrily and imitated the tone of a cross stalk between a group of cattle. He sat down, picked up the phone, and dialed the button. "Huang Mei," Zhang Chen asked. "Brother didn't buy it either?" Lu Ligan took out a Big Brother bag from his backpack and slammed it on the table. "I bought it." "You bought it and you still want to use my phone?" "I've used Big Brother to dunk her a long time ago," Lu Ligan said. "I'm not afraid that this new phone number might have some monsters that won't come back." As he spoke, he dialed Huang Mei's mobile phone number again, and the rapid beeping sound came from the phone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Niang. Chapter 320. Lu Ligan had to adapt to the fact that Huang Mei was gone. When Huang Mei was here, Lu Ligan felt that she was just a part of his life, a secondary part. Even as Zhang Chen said, she was one of his several numbers, and work was his most important part. But when Huang Mei left, Lu Ligan felt that everything about him had been taken away, just like when he heard that Tan Shahen and Feng Logui were getting married. Although he was slightly uneasy before, when he heard the news, it still feels like a person is suddenly empty, and he has to climb up bit by bit from nothingness. The difference from that time was that this time he was not empty all of a sudden, but slowly became empty. Huang Mei was gone, but his sadness did not diminish. He thought he was a person who no longer knew what sadness was. However, as a result, he truly felt that this sadness was haunting him all the time. Although he still works hard every day, still laughs and curses every day, and looks very motivated, outsiders don't know it, but he himself knows that all of this is vain, floating on a piece of white paper, and underneath the white paper, there is already nothing. Lu Ligan didn't go to Lu Yun's place for several days. Firstly, he felt unmotivated, and secondly, he felt that others might not be able to see his frivolity, but Lu Yun would definitely feel it. He and Lu Yun had talked on the phone several times. After talking on the phone for a few words, Lu Yun suddenly asked, "What's wrong with you, Zhangzi?" Lu Ligan laughed playfully, "It's nothing. It's just recruiting people, interviewing people, talking to people, etc. It feels like a mess." "Are you done?" Lu Li's poll stopped abruptly. What did he mean? It has nothing to do with these. These will only make people feel tired. You are not right now. You are in a bad state now. Tell me, what happened? It's okay, it's really okay, Lu Ligan said and hung up the phone in a hurry. Are you a humming witch who turns over tarot cards? You can see through the phone that I'm okay? Later, Lu Ligan was very nervous when talking on the phone several times, but fortunately Lu Yun did not ask further questions. Lu Yun also came to his office once. That day, fortunately, Mr. Han was bringing two friends here to discuss land matters with Lu Ligan. Lu Yun knocked on Lu Ligan's glass door, and Lu Ligan turned his head. Seeing that it was Lu Yun, she quickly told Mr. Han and others, "Please wait a moment, I will be back soon." Lu Ligan walked out, and Lu Yun told him that she was passing by and came up to take a look. Lu Ligan asked her to sit in the conference room, but Lu Yun refused to go and said, "Isn't there someone else in your office?" Lu Ligan secretly breathed a sigh of relief. The two people stood outside, leaning against an empty desk, and exchanged a few words in a hurry. "What are these Hong Kong people doing here?" Lu Yun asked. "How do you know they are Hong Kong people?" Lu Li asked curiously. "It's cool to look at the way you dress. Although many people nowadays like to dress up like Hong Kong bosses, you can still tell the fakes at a glance. Isn't that Mr. Han?" "Awesome," Lu Ligan praised. Lu Yun smiled, "It's not that I'm great, it's that when you described him, you said it very vividly and he was so similar to the real person." Lu Ligan chuckled. "He brought his friends here to talk about the land," Lu Ligan said. "If the land is not implemented, I will always be empty-handed here, and I will feel panicked." "Understood." "How was the discussion?" "There are 3 good pieces of land. Now we are comparing the advantages of the land and the conditions of the other side. One piece of land is the best. The other side's asking price is not high, but they require 10% of the shares. That's not bad. As long as the request is reasonable, it's acceptable. Of course I have no problem here, but Sun Ho and the others are in trouble. If this company wants to become a Sino-foreign joint venture, they have to file a report and go through a lot of procedures, so they are not very willing." Lu Yun nodded. She stretched out her hand and pulled the front of Lu Ligan's shirt, smoothed the wrinkles with her fingers, and said to Lu Ligan, "Then you should be busy. No matter how busy you are, remember to eat well, and drink less, do you understand?" Lu Ligan said, "Okay, I understand." Lu Yun waved her hand and left. Looking at Lu Yun's back, Lu Ligan felt that the empty part of himself was even emptier. When he walked back to the office, Mr. Han said, "Your girlfriend is pretty good." "How did you know she was my girlfriend?" Lu Li asked curiously. "You can tell." Mr. Han smiled. Lu Ligan was confused. How come everyone in this humming world is smarter than me? His own brain is almost running out. How come I have become transparent and you can see it all? Even Wien Wen and Qian Qian noticed it? Qian Qian asked Lu Ligan if he had been fooling around outside recently. "What are you fooling around with? Get out of here, don't waste our time by being distracted here." He was kicked out by Wien Wen and Qian Qian. Lying alone in bed, Lu Ligan thought of the night he and Huang Meili were at Guo's hang. Thinking that Huang Meili should have arrived in Seattle by now. With basic common sense, Lu Ligan knew that Seattle should be now during the day. What will Huang Meili be doing now? Lu Ligan stood up, found an atlas, and turned to the world map. China and the United States were both in red. It looked like Seattle was not that small. On this map, 8 cities in the United States are marked: New York, Washington, New Orleans, Houston, Chicago, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Seattle. Compared with China, Lianhaikan, Hangzhou, Nanjing, Shenzhen is not ranked, only Harbin, Beijing, Tianjin, Shanghai, Guangzhou, Hong Kong, Wuhan, Chongqing, Xi'an and Urumqi. Lu Ligan stared at the circle in Seattle. He felt a little incredible. Such a small circle surrounded my Huang Meili, everything she did today, and every street she walked. Everyone who arrived was in this circle, but I and everything I owned disappeared on this map, not even a circle. This is very similar to my current state: beautiful, beautiful, yellow and beautiful. I am just thinking about you in such a void, waiting for you to fish me out, giggling, "Lao Ma, where are you? Okay, I'll come pick you up." Lu Ligan stared blankly at the ceiling. He saw the spider web in the corner. Such a stupid spider, Lu Ligan cursed in his heart. Even mosquitoes and small flying insects would not fly into that corner, idiot. No wonder you don't humming starve to death, no wonder you only deserve to be a spider. He was surprised to find that lying here, he could hear the ghost at the billiard stand singing, and he was singing in a melody. Lu Ligan knew who he was. "Don't you humming sleep?" Lu Ligan got up. He couldn't sleep anyway, so he decided to go over now and have a good 2 rounds with that guy who was crying like a ghost. Lu Ligan was woken up by 2 car horns downstairs. He knew it was Wu Zaiwai waiting for him at the door. Lu Ligan got up, took a towel and toothbrush, and went to the bathroom. When he walked into the corridor, he held the towel. He waved his hand downwards, which was like saying hello to Wu Zaiwai and informing him that he heard it. Otherwise, in 5 minutes, he would blow the horn twice more. Lu Ligan walked to the door of Wien Wen and Kinkin's room. Their door opened suddenly, and the 2 people ran out in nightgowns. They looked downstairs and asked, "Is this your car?" "Yes, you have been picking me up for several days, and you only know now." "Take us to see it quickly," Wien Wen shouted. "Okay, I'll wash my face and brush my teeth first." Lu Ligan raised the towel and toothbrush in his hand. "Brush your teeth, no one wants to kiss you now, go away," Qian Qian scolded. 2 people pushed Lu Ligan and went downstairs with his slippers clattering. When they got outside the gate, the 2 people got into the back seat of the car, looked around, opened and closed the car door, and rolled up and down the windows. Wien Wen shouted, no matter, when we rest, we have to take us to the beach." Lu Ligan said yes. "Don't lie to people and then say you don't have time," Qian Qian shouted. Lu Ligan said, "I don't have time. Brother Zaiwai has time. Come on, call Brother Zaiwai." Wien Wen and Qian Qian quickly called Brother Kai. Wu Kai was so happy that he quickly agreed. Lu Li opened the car door, and Wien Wen shouted, "What are you doing?" "I have to sit for a while and finally get up." Lu Ligan smiled and said, Well, I'll wash my face, and you can ask brother Zay to drive you to buy breakfast. Okay, Ween Wen and Qian both shouted. Lu Ligan went upstairs alone. When he reached the stairs, he heard the car start and then drive away. Lu Ligan came back from brushing his teeth and washing his face. Wu Zayawai had not come back yet. Lu Ligan was lying on the railing, smoking a cigarette. Outside the gate downstairs, someone walked by the door. He looked up and saw Lu Ligan and said hello to him. Lu Ligan took out a cigarette and threw it down, but it was thrown on top of the gate. The two of them laughed. Lu Lipol threw another one, this time a little closer, and threw it into the yard. The man walked into the yard, picked it up, and raised his hand towards Lu Lipol. Since the car picked him up, Lu Ligan felt that the attitude of the people around him had changed, and they were obviously more polite than before. Lu Ligan was already very popular here, and now he is even more popular. Even when he walked downstairs last night, the bad boys who were playing billiards were polite to him, knowing that he was going to compete with the singing ghost. The guy who was sparring immediately handed him the club in his hand. This feels really good. Lu Ligan, a character who has disappeared from the map, quickly has a good feeling of being a regional big shot.